In this video, I'm going to show you some results others have achieved with sniping. Okay, you're actually going to get to meet some of the most successful snipers ever. I'm also going to, you're going to see live on video. You're going to see some emails. You're going to see all sorts of stuff from people who are making money other than me with sniping. Okay, obviously. It's no secret now that I released this before, and the truth is there's a lot of success stories from that release of this no traffic sort of money making system, okay, because it works. First though, let's go over exactly what Google sniping is, okay, because I think there's a little bit of misconception out there. I haven't fully cleared it up yet, I don't think, and I also want to go over what you'll actually learn in the course and how it's taught, okay. So if we just jump over to Google here, what I want to do is just remind you of the system as a whole. Okay, now the site I want to show you is a site you've already seen. So yeah, you may have already seen this site in the last video, but not in such detail. Okay, so the keyword I'm typing in here into Google is just groom wedding speech. Okay, and I'm showing you guys this site because I first showed this site to the public 2 years ago. If you've seen the last video, you've probably heard this already, and since then it's made me over $25,000, and I'm showing you this site to prove that 2 years later it's still ranking. Okay, so basically the Google Sniper system is this. Okay, so you pick a keyword like this. So if we go to Google, I've got the keyword tool up here that I showed you in the previous video, and you can see how much traffic a keyword actually gets. Okay. So if we click advanced options here, we want to go global monthly searches, we want to go all countries, English, and we just type in the the captcha, sorry, I should say. We'll type that in there, and you can see how many searches this keyword gets a month. You can see it's a pretty incredible keyword. It gets 14,000 searches a month. Of those 14,000, I can say that this site gets over 8,000 visitors a month. Okay, I'm not sure on the exact number, but it's around that. Okay, so you can see I'm ranked in number 1. This is one of these famous, little 2-hour to build sites that I build one time and never touch again. Okay, that's basically the system. Now to show you the site itself, all it is a simple WordPress blog. That's all you're going to be building. It's one page. It really is incredible. Really did take me a couple of hours to set up, and I never touched it again. Okay, it promotes ClickBank products, so I'm sure everybody knows what ClickBank is, and here's the actual ClickBank product it promotes. If I just click here, so all I'm doing is I'm picking ClickBank products and then using the kind of secret formula that I teach you in Google Sniper. I'm then finding these sort of gold mine of keywords and going out and creating these little one-page sites. I'm just ranking really well in Google and getting traffic and sales coming in for months and even years to come. Okay, so just as a quick refresher, it's basically what the Google Sniper system is. But I noticed something really cool actually, and I noticed that I've shown this site. This is quite a famous site because I've shown it to the public, like I said, 2 years ago. And here's what I noticed. I noticed that there's other snipers here actually ranking too. So in at number 2, this isn't my site. This is a site that another sniper's created. You can see pretty much exactly the same, ranking in at number 2. Okay, and there's sniper sites like this all over the internet. In fact, chances are, whether you realised it or not, when you've done a search on the internet, you've probably come across sites just like it. Here's another sniper site. Okay, all very, very similar. And that's basically exactly the kind of site you're going to be setting up in Google Sniper. Okay, it's really powerful. It's really simple. There's no traffic generation, no ongoing work, and quite simply, it's the first ever way I made money online, and I believe it's still the best way to make money online. Okay, but what I also want to talk about now is how the actual course is taught. Okay, so I want to assure you that you don't need any previous experience. You definitely don't need to be a search engine expert or anything like that. Okay, quite frankly, you don't even need to know what I'm talking about right now to make money with the course, as obviously in the course I've got a lot more time in the videos and the manual, and I go through everything in total step-by-step detail. Okay, Google Sniper 2.0 really is a blueprint. It's a blueprint from the first step of actually going to clickbank.com and finding your ClickBank products. Okay, In fact, I'll show you a way where I find ClickBank products, and I don't use ClickBank.com in the course, but anyway, I'm not going to talk about that here. To then finding the little gold mine of a keyword, to then actually registering your domain, installing the blog. You don't need any technical knowledge, by the way, either. I show you exactly, step by step, how to do everything live on video. To actually writing every post, okay? And don't worry, guys, there's hardly any writing to do here at all, and I walk you through exactly what to say so that your sites make as much money as possible, okay? I've really got that down to a fine art, sometimes in painstaking detail, you might even say, if you were to ask any of the old Google snipers, okay? And then absolutely everything right away through to your site getting its first traffic and making its first sales. All of my secrets, all of my little SEO secrets, like latent semantic indexing and all keyword density and all sorts of things like this, which it doesn't matter if you don't understand, because they're really simple and I explain them all. Okay, so I'm just mentioning all of this stuff so that no one is intimidated or anything like that. I think that Google Sniper is not only one of the best ways to make money, but one of the easiest courses to follow I've ever seen. And of course in 2.0 there's loads of new stuff. All the videos have been updated for 2011. The new Empire module that teaches you how to actually go from a single sniper site to a full life-changing income, and how I went from $15,000 a month to $40,000 a month. There's whole loads of new stuff. There's changes to the system that make everything, just about everything about it, easier than before. Google Sniper is a very, very complete system. And now that I've told you about Google Sniper a bit, I want to actually talk about some real success stories. Okay, so the first success story that I want to show you is, if I just come out of this here, is actually from a guy called Gary Gregory. Okay, now I first met Gary, I must admit, about a year ago when he was making, I think he had about 100 sniper sites at the time. Okay, now he's got 150 of these sites, and he's one of the most successful snipers ever. Now, I'm not saying you need anywhere near this sites, okay, to make this kind of money. Some sites make, $1,500 a month alone, those tiny little sites. Okay, this is just the way he's chosen to do it. Okay, so anyway, I'll just get into it. We're just here in my Gmail account. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to read you his testimonial. So Gary says $12,000 a month using only Google Sniper. Gary was actually one of the first people to buy. He says, I was lucky enough to be one of the original beta testers of the original Sniper back in early 2009. I took George's brilliant concept, ran with it, and haven't looked back. It's now 2011 and I have over 150 Google Sniper sites pumping out upwards of $400 each and every day, utilising Google Sniper tactics exclusively. So this is a guy that does not do anything else online. I've been able to live a life most can only dream of. Okay, honestly, I don't think Google Sniper could get any better. But now I've experienced Google Sniper 2.0, all I can say is wow. I can say it with 100% conviction. You'd be crazy not to jump on this right now. George, I can't thank you enough for changing my life. And it's awesome receiving emails like this from time to time, and it's one of the best things about this. Okay, is seeing the real success stories. Gary's one guy. Obviously, Gary is one of the most successful snipers. I'm not going to deny that. But some other things I want to show you, some other testimonials I've received. Okay, and these are actually from other people that purchased the course. Okay, so this next guy is called Swastik. Now, this is a really old testimonial. This is 2 years old that I received this testimonial. So now, I speak to him now and again, and I think Swastik, is making well more than this now. Okay, but at the time, he had 20 sites. 20 of those sites, you could literally set that up in, 3 or 4 days, and it was made him over $4,200 in his first month when he sent me this. So he says, my name's Swastik. I bought George's Google Sniper when it came out. I implemented what was written, had 2 sites going on at the time. George said they outranked their competition. They did after 5 days, ranking number 3. I was getting traffic. After a few days, started seeing sales coming in. Same with the second sites. Now I've got 20 sites, made me $4,200 in 1 month. Especially like your tips on LSI keywords. It's the best system you can invest your money in, etc., etc. Okay. Loads of other testimonials. The best, most complete ebook I've ever read. I have to say it's the best, most complete ebook I've ever read. Nothing's left to the imagination, etc. Here's actually Gary again. Look, this is the testimonial I showed you a second ago right here, but this was when Gary, because that's obviously a recent one he sent me this year, but this one is from, you know, a few years ago when Gary just started, and he had 17 sites at the top 5 of Google, and he loved it. Okay, this is when I first met Gary. Everything a newbie or experienced marketer could ask for, system laid out in great detail anyone can follow. I cannot imagine anyone not benefiting from this course. Guide lays it out with someone, very easy to follow. One of the finest products I've ever purchased. I don't see how it could not make you money. It's already ranked in the top 10 for the keyword. No backlinks. Great. Hands down the best guide I've read so far. It's just, my first site took 3 hours to set up and made me over $700 in its first month. This is actually my friend Tom, and he's the first person I ever sent the guide to, so this was pretty cool. This is really old testimony. This is like 3 years old. Tom is now, well into making a lot of money a month with sniping, okay, since then. Google Sniper works like crazy. We've just got some great testimonials here, guys, but I don't want to bore you too much, but I do have one more success story. And the reason I'm sharing this with you guys, and the reason other people don't share this with you, is because they don't have any success stories, okay? And this is a cold, hard truth that a lot of, the push-button systems and traffic loopholes, they don't actually work for anyone, okay? And I'm showing you this to show that Google Sniper really is different and has made a difference in a lot of people's lives, okay? And this is just some of the testimonials that I've thrown together for this video.